Hello, this is the RPG Pundit, the final boss in Internet Shitlords. And they I've got here the Invisible College and compared to the player's handbook. You want to see how much thicker the Invisible College is? Look, I can stick my whole hand behind World of the Last Sun there. It's entirely propped against Invisible College. So there you are. It is well worth your money. And as you can see, there's a meatball up there looking out at the world in the middle of the night. It's not actually that late, but anyway. So my video today is basically one big I told you so, with a few extra details. Actually, it's slightly worse than what I told you it was going to be. I just had done a video the other day about the D&D Evolution, the new pseudo edition of D&D that they're planning to release in 2024. And I had made certain predictions. Certain people were saying, oh, that's not true, right? Including, like, stupid things. Like, there were some people, I don't remember where it was on the RPG site or where, that were saying, no, they're not getting rid of alignment. Nobody's getting rid of alignment, you know. And in point of fact, you know, they are getting rid of alignment, you know, like, and we knew this because they'd already done it. You know, they'd taken alignment out of the D&D books. Now they are technically now, they're going to put something in there, but what it is not real alignment at all, okay? And we know all this because you know, Jeremy Crawford was kind enough to say so, you know? He just did an article where he details some of the big changes that are coming, and, you know, essentially, that's our dog neighbor there, and as you can see, Meatball is quite curious about what's going on. All right, anyway. Crawford has been quite clear about some of the stuff that's happening. It's quite obvious that it's going to be a pretty big crock, basically. You know, that the product that you're going to get in D&D Evolution is going to be almost entirely a change into a game that is almost mechanically identical to 5th edition. Again, there might be a few little changes here and there. But that it's largely, its change is going to be philosophical and ethical in the sense that it will make D&D more woke than it is now. And here we have the proof in this article that was published. It's an interview with Jeremy Crawford, and it's on the Dungeons & Dragons page, so there's no way that you can doubt it, you know. And so one of the first things that they talk about is, in fact, alignment. And what they say is that from now on, alignment is something that only named individuals will have in D&D books. Okay, so if you've got, you know, Captain Hero or Necro the Necromancer, they might have an alignment included. But you won't have alignment for creature types. So, for example, what they're saying is almost all monsters that are intelligent, you know, like generic humanoids is the term that Crawford uses, will have under alignment any, is what it'll say. It'll say any alignment, right? Because that is their big mission. Hey, don't knock that over, please. Their big mission is to say that you know, that in fact there's no, you know, these that creatures are not meant to be reflective of archetypes and concepts from myth, but rather they represent like as if they were other, you know, races, you know. It's incredible how racist people like Crawford are, right? Because they assume that, you know, non-whites are like monsters or demi-humans or fairy creatures or something like that, you know, like it's just insane. But that's how they assume it, right? So to them, the claim that, for example, orcs are chaotic evil would be a racist term because when they hear the word orc, they think black person because they're incredibly racist. Black people aren't, you know, normal gamers aren't, people like them aren't. But that's what they're going to do. And then here's the kicker, though. Here's where it's even a little worse than I expected, is that they're going to put in terms of, you know, there are some creatures in D&D that are essentially alignment-related creatures, right? You get that, like, everything from certain types of extraplanar creatures, right? Like Modrons are neutral because that's all that they're about. They're from the plane of neutrality and therefore are neutral. devils and demons are lawful and chaotic evil respectively. I don't know if I did that in the right order, but one of them is lawful evil, the other one's chaotic evil. You have celestials that are obviously from good, and so you would think, well, okay, but that's just, they're going to just leave that as self-evident. But no. What they're going to do is they're going to put alignment, and they're going to say typically X. So, for example, a modron, whose entire reason for existing is to be neutral, will be listed as typically neutral. Because even in those cases, their claim is that, there's no such thing as an existential absolute in alignment. And that's Peterson's own words. Crawford's own words. I don't know who I was just thinking of there. Anyways, Crawford says alignment's a narrative. It's not an existential absolute, right? So even Orcus or Asmodeus or God would be typically X, right? So this is just an absurdity that they've come up with, and there's other stuff that's going to be equally bad, of course, that is mentioned in this description. So character races, as it was very clear, because this is, again, nothing really new in this article. This is stuff they were already putting in other books, and it's obviously going to be in the new edition. But somehow some people were trying to pretend that wasn't going to be the case. But it says here, races will no longer have ability score increase traits. That instead, new races will be allowed to increase any one ability score by 2 and another by 1, or to increase 3 different ability scores by 1. This will let you make your choice of trait of race completely, openly, right? So you can have, an elf who's clumsy and ugly, and you can do whatever you like, right? So this is again destroying completely the archetype, exactly as I had predicted. In terms of new races, will not have any alignment suggestions, and I assume the old races in the new edition will have those alignment suggestions removed, right? So, there's nothing to say that halflings or dwarves or elves or tieflings are of a certain alignment, right? Because being half devil isn't any big deal, especially since devils only typically have evil alignment, right? It could be like millions and millions of devils in the D&D world that are actually lawful good, right? Because they're really woke, because that's what they're going to redefine lawful good as, right? To be like, to be properly diverse. And here's the one that really blew my mind. It was so fucking funny. All right. You can choose in terms of races, races have a typical size, right? So a player character race is usually like humans, elves, dwarves, I think, are medium, halflings are small, if I'm not mistaken. Well, now it's going to say that that races will let you choose whether you begin medium or small if you're a medium race, reflecting that some races have a broad range of build, right? So literally they're saying, well, we have to be inclusive to midgets, so we have to explicitly state that you could be small size instead of just medium size, right? And they also say we're not going to provide any height or weight for a race. Instead, we're going to provide the following text. Player characters, regardless of race, typically fall into the same ranges of height and weight that humans have in our world. Oh, that's great. It's really nice to know, Dragonborn and golems and whatever are going to just all be average height for humans. If you'd like to determine your height, okay, that's not important. So basically, they're trying to turn everything into gray goo, right? The next edition after this one, to be any more woke, would just have to say there is nothing, defining about your character in any way, right? They'll probably not get rid of class in this one because they want that backward compatibility. But let's say this new evolved version collapses, but the SJW stay in control. Their next move is going to be to double down, make a game totally different than 5th edition. That's going to be super duper, super woke, and there you go. There won't be languages traits because new races lack traits that are purely cultural. Instead, all characters will know common and any one language that they wish, right? So there you go. It's just absurd. So that's basically what's in this article. And that's basically everything I was saying, except just slightly worse, right? Because now the way that they've done it, they're not even really leaving alignment to you, right? Because if they had just said, we're getting rid of the alignment stat altogether, then you in your game could just basically default the existence of alignment as it is, right? And have a world of good and evil. But by saying, even vampires and succubuses might be lawful good, they might be good or evil or whatever. They don't have, there's no such thing as real alignment. By saying that, what they've done is moved you forcibly out of a moral world into an amoral world, into a world, D&D must be for them amoral because they don't believe in morality, they despise morality. This is the triumph of Occultian postmodernism over the game, where they're gonna make it so that you as the DM are under enormous pressure to not have a story arc that is about good versus evil, because that's not allowed. You can make probably a story arc about tolerance versus bigotry, right? That'll be allowed. But you're not allowed to say that there's inherent evil, objective evil in the world, and that people are capable of succumbing to evil and need redemption, right? That sort of stuff. No, that's going to be right out. Because they want this to be a system of indoctrination for young players into a world that is completely subjective and amoral. And that's what it's coming up to. So the answer is, of course, stop buying products. Once again, stop buying products from people who despise you, right? Don't buy products from people who want to destroy your hobby, who hate you, who would probably want you in some kind of a gulag if they knew what you really thought. Don't buy stuff from them. Buy stuff from people who like you, from people who like the gaming, who are actually gamers and who really like the hobby and who like the kind of the myths and the backgrounds of things that make up the hobby. Where the heck are you going? Look at this. What is this? What are you doing here? Meatball, you keep doing this and we're just going to have to replace you with Big Chungus here. I don't know where she is, but anyways, I guess that's everything for today. But on that topic, be sure to share this video, post it anywhere you think it's going to, people are going to be interested in it, and anywhere where people are going to be pissed off about it. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And if you're looking for products that are great products that are made by someone who doesn't actually hate you or the hobby or Western civilization or gaming in general, or the idea of good and evil being things that matter, then you should check out my products. They're not political in any way. They're apolitical in any, at least any modern context. I mean, there's obviously some politics in the settings, but they're not meant to indoctrinate you into any view that I have. Unlike the new D&D books, which are clearly meant to indoctrinate you and force you to adopt the extreme leftist views of the people that are going to be creating them, right? So if you want a game where you can decide, how to apply things, then check out my stuff. Check out World of the Last Sun. It's a silver bestseller. It's doing really well, and it's a complete setting book full of lots of stuff, lots of really useful stuff, tables and items and objects and creatures and all kinds of things that you can end up using for any kind of a weird fantasy or gonzo fantasy type of campaign. Check out The Invisible College. It's a gigantic 432-page complete OSR modern occult conspiracy RPG, where you play magicians who are agents of a secret order of magicians that are fighting other secret orders of magicians to determine the spiritual destiny of humanity. In other words, basically what we've been up to for the last what would it be now? I guess at least 8 years. So The Invisible College, or check out all my other stuff, Lion and Dragon, Cults of Chaos, Dark Albion, Star Adventurer, and check out the RPG Pundit Presents series. I'm being told that the latest issue is about to come out. It's called Perils of the Sunken Skyship. It's an adventure, a gonzo / weird fantasy adventure. And it might be out by the time this video comes out, for all I know. So keep an eye out for that. All my RPG Pundit Presents PDFs range between 99 cents and $4.99, and it's like you're buying me a coffee, but you're getting something for yourself. That's the key thing, right? You can support me on Patreon if you like, but on Patreon I don't do anything. It's just for people who have got all my stuff or don't want any of my stuff, or have got all the stuff of mine that they want, but want to keep supporting me, which I thank you very much, so I can keep fighting the good fight here against the kind of the tide of of amorality. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. This tide of this consuming relativism that threatens to destroy us all, and certainly to destroy our hobby. So that's everything for today. Currently smoking Lorenzetti Half Volcano plus Argento Natural.